If you try and be everything to everyone, you'll end up being nothing to no one. I'm sorry to say, but you can't save the world. You have to choose what part of the world you want to save. If you don't specify your audience as a speaker, you're going to remain in obscurity. I remember when I was first starting out as a speaker, I had 3 different mentors who were all trying to help me narrow down who I was as a speaker, and most importantly, who my audience were. And these were 3 excellent people with a lot of experience, but I was really struggling to grasp this. And we're going through all of these demographics of my audience are women over 30, they're liberal, they're married, they have kids, they work in reasonably well-paying jobs, but they aren't necessarily fulfilled. And I was going through all of these things, I just felt like I was making it up. I couldn't get a grasp on who I wanted to have in front of me, who I was able to help. One day I'm with one of these mentors, and we've got a big whiteboard session going on. We're in one of these places where the whole wall is just a whiteboard. And we're drawing these circles and these spider diagrams, and I can't get it. And I'm expressing my frustration to him. I'm saying, I just feel like I'm making this up. And he looked at me, and he asked me a question that changed everything. It's an elaboration of 2 key questions that you need to have nailed down as a speaker. And what I'm going to share for you in this video is what the 2 basic versions of those questions are, and then I'm going to give you the upgraded versions. And the final question I'm going to share for you is that magic question that my mentor asked me that day that changed everything for me. The 2 basic versions of the question are: what problem do you solve? Who do you solve it for? These 2 questions are something that every business has to know, and as a speaker, you are a business. You are running a business. If you're not running a business, you're a charity. You're speaking for free. And yes, it's nice to be able to share a message and to be able to give to people who perhaps aren't able to afford your services. But ultimately, if you want this to be a long-term thing, you need to be making money from your speaking. And so you need to approach it as a business. What problem do you solve? Do you help people who are unfit become fit? Do you help people who aren't making enough money make more money? Do you help people who don't feel connected in their relationships feel more connected in their relationships? What problem do you solve, and who do you solve it for? In terms of fitness, are you helping women over 40? In terms of making money, are you helping young men between the ages of 16 and 25? In terms of improving connection in relationships, are you helping people who've been through at least one divorce in their life? There you go. That's it. That's the basics. And that seems very basic, funnily enough, but so many emerging businesses and aspiring speakers don't have very clear answers to those questions. For me, I help people find their voice and share their message, and the people who I help are aspiring speakers with inspiring stories. That's the problem I solve. That's who I solve it for. Straightforward so far. But what I don't like about those 2 questions is actually in their simplicity, they can be so difficult to answer. And that's why I had all of these sessions with the spider diagrams and the demographics and feeling like I was just guessing and making things up, because I was. What I want to share with you instead are 2 upgrades to these questions that will help you get much clearer on what those answers ultimately are for you. Upgrade number 1. Instead of what problem do I solve, I want to instead ask you, what problem is unacceptable to you? This changes the game, because when we start thinking about problems that we can solve, There's quite a lot of them. There's lots of different skills, experiences that we have that could be lent towards solving different problems in the world. But that's a very logical way of looking at things. Instead, let's get emotional. What problem is unacceptable to you? When you look around at the world, what do you look at and say, how have we not done something about this yet? How have we not fixed that? What is that for you? Is it world hunger? Is it gender inequality? Is it mental health stigma? Whatever that is, what problem is unacceptable to you, when you speak about that problem, you're automatically going to have that passion about it, that enthusiasm for it, that drive and motivation to do something about it. Can you feel the difference as I'm describing that compared to what problem do I solve compared to what problem is unacceptable to you? So I want you to think about what the answer to that question is. What problem is unacceptable to you? And I'm going to share the second upgraded question with you in just a moment. But first, let's hear about some more ways in which you can gain clarity on your speaking. Look no further than the Rise and Inspire book. This has the 2 magic questions that I'm telling you about in this video and a whole lot more of reflection and pinpoint accuracy in helping you get really clear on what your message is. In fact, there's an entire chapter, let me just show you to prove, there's an entire chapter called Message. And this is all about getting clarity on your message. So if you know that you want to be a speaker and you know you've got something to share, but you're just not quite sure what that thing is, this is the book for you. This is going to help you find that clarity, get that focus, and ultimately get that message out there into the world. Rise and Inspire, #1 Amazon bestseller. It's in ebook, paperback, and audiobook, all in the link below this video. Click that link to find that clarity. Now, let's find out, what was that question that my mentor asked me? David, who do you want to be a hero to? Who do I want to be a hero to? This is the question that burnt through all of that indecision, all of that ridiculous making up and guesswork. When my mentor asked me, David, who do you want to be a hero to? I could see that person in my mind. Who I wanted to be a hero to was a younger version of me. I wanted to be a hero to the person I was at 18. Someone who had a lot of intelligence and ability, but really doubted himself. Someone who had a lot of drive and passion, but didn't focus it. Someone who had a lot of joy and kindness to give, but hid it from the world. I could see myself at 18 and I just wanted to pick myself up and shake myself and say, David, you can do this. You've got so much within you. You just need to get out of your own way and make it happen. When I asked you that question, who do you want to be a hero to? What person comes into your mind? And it will be a specific person. And I don't mean as in a specific individual. I don't mean it would be like younger David or your mom or your best friend or that person that you went on a date with 10 years ago. It won't necessarily be a specific individual with a name, but it will be a specific type of person. It might be middle-aged mums. It might be young entrepreneurs. It might be aspiring speakers with inspiring stories. Who do you want to be a hero to? Who do you want to have looking up to you and saying, that's my leader, that's my role model. They're showing me the way and they're helping me to get to my destination in life. As a speaker, if you can be a hero to someone, you will change their life. And my life has been changed by so many heroes. And that question reminded me about what I needed to do to go on and be a hero to someone else. And that is a much better upgrade than who do you solve a problem for? I was struggling with the logical, basic interpretation of those two questions. But when we have those two magic upgrades, what problem is unacceptable to you? Who do you want to be a hero to? That's when we find that clarity. That's when we have that inner passion and enthusiasm coming out of us. That's when we're at our best as speakers. So I want you to think about those two questions today. What problem is unacceptable to you? And who do you want to be a hero to?